welcome to a brand new Nerds United on YouTube. My name is Greg Mahachko, joined as always by my co-host of the year, Mike Luther. Hello, Mike.
Hello. By the way, I'm gonna point this way. I don't know if you're here or not, but I'm gonna point here.
You should point the opposite direction of whichever way you were pointing.
I'm gonna point this way.
All right, because I point this way, and now if we get close enough, it's like we're ET phoning home. There we go. Here, wait, high five. Wait, I can't. We're nerds, and that's okay because this is Nerds United on YouTube. And this episode is really going to be all about Mike and what we're calling Mike's Book Club.
Yes, because as you may know, lately I have been reading more comic books because, one, I'd like to give us content because there's no movies coming out, and we got to talk about something. And two, I have a stack from Greg of about 100 comic books that I have let set there for like a year. So I have a lot to go through. But, you know, my red stack is getting slightly bigger. Starting with, I'll talk about this first one here, which is Batman, Superman. I don't know if you can see it. Public Enemies. Okay, Public Enemies. In this one, essentially, if I remember the story correctly, there is a meteor from Krypton coming to Earth, and Lex, who is the president at the time, he basically says that it's coming for Superman, it's coming because of Superman. So he puts out a bounty on Superman of $1 billion. Which, of course, as you could probably guess, that means that all the bad guys, all the villains, of course, are going to go after him. And for $1 billion, they're all teaming up. So I know there was a scene with like Captain Cold, I think Killer Frost, and Mr. Freeze all coming together. Solomon Grundy and somebody else is coming together. Metallo plays a big part in this one as well. And then, of course, Batman is teaming up with Superman to help him out. Now, I will say that not only did I read the comic book, but they're on HBO Max. There is a movie, I guess I'll say, a cartoon about it. Basic premise, slightly different. In the comic book, you get a,
What? You mean it's not a straight adaptation from the source material, Mike?
It's actually, I would say, about 90% close. The ending is slightly different, which I won't go over the ending because I want you to read this. But in the comic book, there's a lot of inner dialogue between Superman and Batman. And you can see Superman is very positive and optimistic and cheerful, while Batman, of course, is just the opposite, you know. And, of course, that's how they were raised. And, you know, yes, Superman did lose his dad and mom that he never knew, you know. But he was raised on a farm in Kansas City. Of course, everybody knows the story. And, of course, Batman's parents got shot. So you can see why they have different points of views. Overall, I really liked it. I really liked the movie as well. In fact, that's one of the reasons that I picked this comic out of the stack, because I remember seeing that on HBO Max. On my list, actually, was Superman, Batman, Public Enemies. And I should say, just to give credit, that I guess writer, I'm not sure. It just says in the front, Jeff Loeb, Ed McGuinness, and Dexter Vines.
Correct. Yeah. Jeff Loeb, of course, the renowned writer. Ed McGuinness did the art. And what I liked about the animated feature on HBO Max, as well as other outlets, you know, other streaming outlets, if you wanted to, you know, if you don't have HBO Max, you want to see, I'm sure you could, you know, seek it out on Amazon Prime or Vudu, something like that. Is particularly, I thought, correct me if I'm wrong, but particularly with Superman, I thought that they stayed pretty true to the artistic styling. You know, this is, you know, from a time, the book came out in a time when there was nothing lean about Superman. I mean, he's jacked up and ready to, you know, punch the moon to another galaxy, theoretically. I don't know how physics works. But I feel like the animated version reflects that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say one thing about the another difference between the book and the movie is unless I missed it in the movie, there is a sort of future timeline element to the book that's not in the movie, as well as, like I said, the ending. Who does something is different. So without spoiling anything, but I recommend both of them. So, like I said, this one right here, read it. It's going into my red stack, which is right here. You can't see that. Maybe you've heard it. I don't know. Okay. And then the next one is Middlewest. Right there.
Scotty Young, yeah.
Yep, Scotty Young. And it's either going to be Jorge or George, and I'm not sure what it is. But I'm going to say George Corona.
I think
this one right here.
You're probably accurate the first time around.
Jorge. I know some that are spelled like this that are Jorge, and some are George. Like George Masvidal, which is a UFC fighter, spelled that exact same way.
Wait, I thought that was Jorge.
No, it's George.
Okay.
George Masvidal. Maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe who knows? I just call him Masvidal. Whatever I say.
Mike, we were in the same Spanish class. You should know this stuff.
Yes, in Spanish class you would pronounce it Jorge, but sometimes even if it's a Spanish person, they themselves pronounce it George.
All right.
Crazy. I don't know. Craziness.
To the artist of Middlewest, we apologize. We're getting this wrong somewhere.
You know what? If we get it wrong, yes, of course I apologize, but why don't you write in the comments and phonetically tell me how you spell your name, and then I will pronounce it that correct way every time, or I'll forget about it and I'll pronounce it wrong again. But this one, okay, so it's essentially, and I only have book one right now. A kid, I want to say maybe teenager-ish, maybe younger, essentially runs away from home with his fox, which doesn't seem that too much of a good story, but there's a lot of like fantasy elements to it. Like there's something on his chest, something happens with his chest. It glows. It's some kind of weird symbol, not a Superman symbol, or not the Turtles either. But it glows whenever he gets angry, not the Green Lantern one. It glows when he gets angry. And something similar has happened to his dad. His dad, I don't think this spoils it necessarily because it happens very early in the book. But it seemed like the way I could picture it, his dad basically turned into like some kind of monster tornado thing. And then he ran away. The kid ran away, which I don't remember the kid's name, to be honest with you. So I'm just going to call him a kid. He probably has it. Oh, Abel, I think his name is. That sounds right. Yep, I knew I'd remember. So Abel runs away. He finds like homeless person / wizard. And this person tells him to meet another person, another kind of female wizard. I don't know what they're called. Wizardess?
Witch?
Yeah, that's probably right. And at a carnival. So he's going on this adventure. One thing I would even just the style of the comic book, which, I mean, I'll just show you a random page. You can kind of get the style there. As I'm reading this, I'm really picturing this as like a Disney movie. And when I say that, I don't mean it's for kids necessarily, although I think a kid or teenager could read this and be fine. There's nothing as far as in this book that's, R-rated or anything like that. But I just think that the fantasy element and the story itself could make a good Disney movie. Along the line, and when I say Disney movie, I'm talking like old school Disney, like Black Cauldron, Robin Hood, that kind of stuff.
I don't want to interrupt, but I will interject. I love the fact that your first go-to for classic Disney movie was Black Cauldron, which is like the last resort, like scraping the bottom of the barrel of Disney classics. You're like, Black Cauldron, that's my first pick.
Well, that's because I saw Black Cauldron like last year, maybe two, and I sort of remember parts of it, and I just the way that, not necessarily the story, but the art itself. I think when whoever designed that could put this into a movie. This meaning the comic book that I'm pointing at.
Middlewest, for all of you listening and not watching.
Yes, yeah. Why would you just turn your volume up?
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
So in Middlewest is from Image Comics. It has 3 collected editions out to over 18 issues. I do have the second volume. I don't have the third one yet, but at imagecomics.com, it does, list the 3 trade paperbacks, 18 issues. I don't know if because of the pandemic, having not read the third arc or the third volume, I should say, I don't know if that's where the story ends, or if due to the global pandemic and stuff, they had to pump the brakes on Middlewest or other reasons that would affect the feel a sneeze coming on. Here we go.
Oh, I timed that perfectly.
Would affect the the production of the book is what I'm saying.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if it was a sales issue, a pandemic issue, or if Scotty Young and Mr. Corona, Senor Corona, possibly, I don't know, if they just said no, 18 issues. That's the story we had to tell. So I do agree with you. It has the type of story that would lend itself to being adapted to another medium, and especially in the era I think we're in, where kids stories or maybe not kids stories necessarily, because to your point, it's not like bloody, it's not gratuitous sex or violence, but if I remember correctly, there is some foul language in there. Not that can't be scrubbed, or to just keep it the way it is, and instead of doing on a Disney, but like a Netflix or an Amazon Prime or whoever would have communication rights with Image. I do think it lends itself to an adaptation. I think animated, like an animated series, would be the way to go.
Oh yeah, it definitely would have to be animated. Yeah, I don't want live version of this. Although that's kind of the way they're going for everything now, so who knows? It might more likely be a live version than a animated. One last thing.
Right. The way they're going, you're right. They'll start with animated, and then in 15 to 20 years, they'll be like, live action, that Middlewest. We need that one back.
Yeah. With even though it's all mainly humans, they'll just make sure they're all expressionless every time.
So kind of like some of the more recent live action Disney projects, where the humans are emotionless.
Yeah. So I'll tease. I am working on reading another comic book, which of course I'll talk about next week, either on the YouTube or on the podcast, depending on if we have anything for the video or not. I'm not going to say what it is, but I will say I'm really, really enjoying it. I wish I could give a really good tease for it. Bad guy becomes good guy is the best I can do. I might tell Greg after this.
Bad guy becomes good guy, and obviously it's something I've read.
Yes.
Is it from one of the big 2 publishers?
I'm not gonna tell you. I'll let you. I'm not gonna say what it is on here. So I do
want to try to guess.
Okay.
Is it from one of the big 2 publishers?
Yes.
Bad guy becomes good guy. I think I know what it is.
Okay.
I think I know what it is. We'll talk about it next week.
Yes.
Okay. You froze up there for a second.
And you know what? Comment below what you think it is.
Comment below on all of the comic book possibilities on what it could be between a bad guy becoming a good guy. We're excited. There are endless possibilities.
If you comment and you get it right, Greg might send you something.
I got an email from a listener who said, "Oh, free stuff. Tell me, how do I win?" I said, "I just need your address and what kind of free stuff you want." And they haven't responded back. So.
Who was it? Can we say the name on air?
No.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I'm not here to shame anybody. Let me just say that if you want free stuff and you email nerdsunitedpodcast@gmail.com and you got a response and you haven't responded back saying what you'd like, quit dragging your feet.
I mean, okay, probably a better way to say that to a listener.
That's
But
I can only do shit like I can only open the door. Like this door right here. I can only open. If they want the free stuff, they're gonna have to put it right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I get it. So email the Nerds United podcast at gmail.com. Get some stuff. Comment below of what you think it is. Press like over here. Subscribe over here. That's probably not right. I don't know how you hold your phone. And then join us on the podcast.
I don't know if they will experience this at home, but at the middle point of this video, I did swap our faces, like from, like I was on the right side of my screen. Now I'm on the left, and I don't know if that will affect them watching at home. So, but now when I actually point this, wait a minute. Yeah, this is more confusing. We're going to have to work on this and figure it out. I'm lost. I'm confused. He is the co-host of the year, Mike Luther. I'm Greg Mahashko. This is Nerds United on YouTube. We'll see you next week. In the meantime, be kind.
And rewind.
And that's totally the first time we did that.